Hi there. Happy Soul Sips on Sunday. I hope you're having a great day. So today's video, I tried to do it 21 times last week until I finally realized this is not my jam. I need to sit back and think about this as to what's happening. And the reason that I've found it challenging is because the topic is dating post-divorce. And it's uncomfortable, right? It has so many levels to it and layers to it that I keep kind of fiddling with, like, how to go about this conversation. But as I've mentioned many times before, I feel there's such a power and a strength to mirror stories and have conversations and to open up and be real and honest about our experiences. So I just thought I'd baby step it in today with the hopes that there are a few other videos or conversations about this in the future. So somebody who really inspires me and kind of eggs me on to do these videos are other individuals who are being brave and courageous in telling their story in their way. And one of a fantastic group, let's say, that has done this for me is these guys. These women, the Dixie Chicks, or the chicks, should I say, all went through a divorce. And they then took those stories and turned them into song. And I must say, this album is phenomenal. But I got to tell you to start, this particular song called The Texas Man, when I heard it, I said, yes, I can speak to this. So let me give you the 4 lines in the verse. Everybody wants top market, but I'm a little bit unraveled. Everybody wants the new model, but I'm a little bit more traveled. It is so perfect. You've been with a man for over 20 years. You're now in your 40s, or in my case, I was in my 40s. Your body is, you see models, you see perfection all over the place. Your body's nothing like it was 20 years ago, post babies, post life. And then you have, the unraveled feeling, the wobbliness that happens within your head and your mind and your heart going through a divorce. You know what you don't want, but you also have an idea of what you do want, but you weren't quite sure how to get there, and you're not sure what this all looks like. And I think that's the dating piece, right? It's such an intimate component to life and stepping in, and it's well beyond physical. As much as we can get fixed on physical, it's hard not to get fixed on physical. It's such a knockdown, right? Like, you get knocked down going through a divorce, and I felt very knocked down. It was funny. I felt so knocked down that I trained for a fitness competition with the thoughts that if I just got neck down, in shape and ready to go, I'd be able to balance my head and my heart out and tackle my divorce. And that couldn't have been further from the truth. That wasn't what I needed to do. But like everything happens for a reason, and as life is, I had to go through that experience and realize that my physical body was not the only component to what needed to heal and to get stronger and softer and kinder. So what I wanted to do today was just simply share a couple stories, and nothing too crazy, but maybe they might mirror a bit with you. One was, I felt so guilty and worn about my divorce, right? And it weighed really heavy on me that I felt that I was a huge part, more than the majority of my reasoning for my divorce. And so there was part of me that I almost felt like I had to penance myself, that there would be no man in my life, that I would not have any contact with anybody. I just needed to work on my shit and get myself together. Well, what added to that was when somebody very close to me said this very seriously, and I'm paraphrasing because it's been a few years, but you'll get the tidbit here. So she says, Andrea, You have to realize you're in your 40s now and you're entering menopause. And of course, you've got 4 kids. I'm not really quite sure what sort of man is going to be interested in you for those reasons. Anyways, okay. So part of telling these stories and looking back and reflecting on my life, and when I say lessons wrapped in sandpaper, this was a lesson wrapped in sandpaper. This lesson was hard to take, because it was a huge reality bust in my face when I kind of went, holy shit, who is going to want to take on this world? And on top of it, it's like, I'm not a wilting flower. I am strong and I'm clear and and I want a guy who can stand beside me, or I don't want one at all. So with that attitude and that happening, I went into a space of just me. And I really focused on me. I practiced being alone. I practiced doing things alone. I focused on my own goals, my specific dreams. I focused on being a parent, a single parent. And I really took some long sits and walks and time by myself to really look inward. And you know what? I've got to say, before stepping into dating, it was so good, and I highly recommend it. It's uncomfortable. There's tears. There's moments you're on the kitchen floor. There's you're alone. Sometimes you're lonely, but I believe that it's a layering thing. It's you stretch yourself a little bit. You step into it a little bit, and then you realize, I'm good. I did that. Holy shit, I just did that. And I felt. I wanted to really decide, again, I knew what I didn't want. And I started really picking away at what I did want, and that I wasn't prepared to betray myself again. I am important. I love myself. I am not too much. And these are the sort of things that I continue to talk to myself about and mantraing myself to whatever I kind of needed at that time, as I just worked on building myself back up. So self-confidence was a huge thing for me, and I was so afraid to step into dating. One of the weird things, though, that was kind of humorous, and I'm sure you can relate to, is that I found it fascinating how people, I'd run into them at the soccer field, the grocery store, the mall, if I was out at gatherings or whatever. It was the funniest thing, because people felt, one, that they could say anything to me. I don't know why. All of a sudden you're single and you have the most weirdest random things happening to you, I found. And secondly, they could be particularly blunt. So I'm in the grocery store one day and I run into a man that I've known, him and his wife actually, and I've known them for quite some time. And we're chatting, she heads off to the bakery, and he basically says to me, like, super blunt, way more blunt than I'm about to say. He says, you know what you need, Andrea, is you need to get on with your life. You need to go have a one-night stand with a dude, and then you'll be fine. And I just remember walking away going, what just happened? And why does he think that he could say this to me? It's really... So my little tidbit on this one, if you're somebody who has said that before, even if you're a girlfriend saying, come on, get on with your life, get going, which I had that as well. Or if you're a guy saying it, whatever this looks like. When somebody has been in a relationship for a particularly long time, or maybe not long, as long as you think it should be, could be, whatever, I was grieving. We have to respect people. We have to respect them kindly. And the answer to a divorce is not to immediately hook up with somebody. It's not. Time is important. Grieving is real. It's a thing. Take your time. Heal yourself. Do you. Don't let all the voices around you throw you. Just keep doing you. But when you are ready to start dating, and you'll know it, it's uncomfortable, but it's fun and it's exciting. I had a hard time just having fun. I really had to. I know it's going to sound weird. I had to practice having fun. I felt I had to be responsible, and I'm a mom, and I had a business, and blah, 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 blah. And I couldn't just like, oh, wow. You know what? I remember one time I went on a date to Wonderland, and it was so much fun. The only time I've done Wonderland or any kind of amusement, I had a bunch of kids, and they were whining and complaining and blah, blah, blah. It was just me and him. And I went on rides I never would have gone on. My ex-husband didn't like rides. And next thing you know, I'm going down these massive, crazy, long rides. And I'm having so much fun. And I just let loose. So that'd be my first little bit of advice. My second bit of advice is when you're allowing yourself to take time, you can still take time while seeing people, but listen to yourself. So don't get caught up in, Betty Jo is seeing so many people and Sally Ann is, on her fifth date with that guy and it looks like it's so fun and great and wonderful. Just keep listening to yourself. It's okay. You get to do your own path. It's such an intimate, internal process that we go through. We just got to be easier with ourselves and just go with it. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. The first guy that you go on a date with, it doesn't have to be the guy, your forever guy. And really stepping into the forever guy, lose the fairy tale. We were shoveled the fairy tale all of our lives, right? We grew up with it. We all got married thinking we were going to live happily ever after. Bullshit. Even those of you who are married, we all know it's hard. And it's compromise. And this is life. It's not a fairy tale. So get out of it. So if that means you go on a few dates and you do whatever and however and whatever that looks like, maybe you never get married again. Maybe you're straight and then you become a lesbian. Whatever it is, do you. Do whatever really works for you. And then I think probably the last thing is the guys. This is always an interesting thing, right? One, they're going through their own shit because there's a really good chance that they have kids or they are divorced. And if they're not, that's a whole other ball game too. I had one guy who actually when he found out that I had 4 kids and I said, hey, look, when we finally got into the conversation and I said, I'm not having any more kids. I'm barely doing a subpar job with my 4. I really like you, but I'm not having any more children. And he backed away. He knew what he needed and I knew what I needed. But I had a moment that I kind of went, because that voice was in my head. But then I was like, no. And then when it comes to guys, I think kind of going back to that fairy tale, we kind of think that they're going to save the day or they're going to, once you're with somebody, you just want to get back to, living together, having dinner parties, going on trips together, raising families, which there's nothing wrong with any of that, but they're not here to save you. Those men, you guys, you're as unraveled as us. We need to really, really practice respecting ourselves first and then respecting them and knowing that we're all kind of on this bumpy path together, and how we choose to go about it is really about not betraying ourselves and having integrity. So I think it's a really exciting, fun time, but you have more control than you may even realize. So stay true to yourself, and know that that is not the end all and be all. Enjoying yourself. And if one guy or one girl is that lucky person that gets to hang out with you and gets to enjoy your space, your energy, your love, well, then Yahoo. And until then, love yourself. Love hard on yourself. Take care of yourself and know that you are enough. You're worthy. Let it go and really embrace life. Go do you. Do you.